Hello and welcome to Breakfast Central on News Central Television. It's day 7 in the month of July 2026. We're counting down to another day and another week where we're hoping that our aspirations, our hopes, and not forgetting to our wishes will come true. For us here on Breakfast Central, it's our wish that the kidnapped victims in Oyo State will regain freedom and parents will enjoy the warmth of hugging their children once again. We do hear that the police are actually working tirelessly and the security agencies are putting in all the efforts that they can put in to ensure that these families receive their children and husbands get to hug their wives once more. It's our hope that that will happen. And that's one of the ways we hope to start the show every day by saying there's no more kidnapping and no one has been kidnapped in Nigeria. Is that a reality? Is that what we're looking forward to see? Well, that's just one aspect in which we're going to start the show this morning. Also, kudos to the Belgians for the fantastic way in which they actually defended the United States of Nigeria. I cannot wait to chime in, I know. And sad news, my man, my own GOAT, Cristiano Ronaldo, bows out of the World Cup. But guess what? We're not sad. We're happy because at 41 years, you've stood the test of time and you've done fantastically well. On that note, I want to say this is how we start off Breakfast Central on News Central. This morning, I am Joe Hansen. On the screen, there's Cristiano Ronaldo, the world's GOAT, greatest of all time, whether you like it or not. But let me pass the baton to the man, the one, the only, Benga Aborowa. Good morning,
yes. Good morning. And I mean, it's World Cup period, so you expect us to talk about, I mean, even geopolitically, they're discussing the biggest sporting event in the world, which is the World Cup currently being hosted in the United States of America. And we all knew the drama that happened, the high-stakes political drama before the U.S. national team, men's national team, went head-to-head against the Devils of Belgium. And FIFA rescinded, overturned the red card given to star player Folarin Balogun after undue influence by the President of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump. And yesterday, following the victory of the Belgians against the Americans, the Belgian men's national team handle trolled the U.S. They said, overturn this. And put the caption there. So let's see if Donald Trump could make some phone calls to Mr. Infantino. And then, you know, the Secretary of State was talking about it. Senator Ted Cruz, senior members of Congress, they were happy that, you know, President Trump used his influence to overturn something. And when this happens, it means it's not standardized. It means rules are not rules. That's why UEFA, the European Football Association, wrote to FIFA condemning that action. It was a blatant red card. It could have ended his career. He stepped on his ankle in a very terrible position. Regardless of if you want your play fair, I mean, that's why they say the fairness and spirit of sportsmanship. He didn't have to do that. So you did that. At the end of the day, you got a whooping by Belgium.
I like the way it ended. You despite the and that is
life
definition of what life is. You might try to find your way around nature, try to say you're trying to cheat nature, but you see, nature is nature, life is life. What will be will definitely be, and it was the pinnacle of every single thing, every game that was hosted yesterday. It was a highlight. It kind of like Cristiano Ronaldo's story is at the top, but what eventually happened yesterday, especially to the United States of America, made it clear that, listen, you may find a way to cheat and do whatever it is, but it will not last.
God bless you. And nature has an equilibrium. It's the same with climate change. You know, you can't pollute the seas and do all this industrialization and hope that there won't be consequences.
So are you referring to, I mean, just recently, Minister of Works, David Umahi, says that the coastal road is flooding because they did not follow the master plan.
I don't understand.
That's what he
said.
said.
Who is not following the master plan?
In that conversation, he said that it's the people that are blocking the drainages and that while they were carrying out the construction, they did not follow the master plan. I have two questions this morning, and when I heard that story, I said, I want to ask two questions to the Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister, if you're watching this morning, which I believe you have your team members who always, we hear, watch the news channels, including News Central. when you say they did not follow the master plan, why did you commission the road?
Where is your environmental impact assessment report?
Those two things, those are the two questions. Where is your environmental impact assessment? And then why did you commission the road? Why did you hurriedly commission the road? It should have been at that point before the commissioning that you would have said, hold on, let me see, what's going on? And this is an indication, it's a red light, it's an alarm to every single person here that in as much as we have multiple road and infrastructural
it doesn't mean that
jobs
standards
going
shouldn't
on,
be followed, and
does that
shouldn't
mean,
respect the environment.
Does that mean that the standards are not being followed for all of these constructions taking place in different parts of the country?
And still talking about construction, now I'd like to bring the attention of Lagos State government to the state of roads, because a lot of roads in Lagos are still being constructed, or they were constructed using asphalt. And what happens during the rainy season is that the asphalt washes away, especially if the initial job was shoddy, if the contractors didn't do a good job. And I'm speaking about the Lekki-Epe Express Road, which is one of them. Joe, if you notice, the shoulder of many of the roads have been eroded. You have grass growing, you have serious potholes. And this is a road that many Lagosians suffered as a result of the construction that was going on last year. It was shut for quite a number of weeks, and Lagosians had to go through hell to commute back and forth from their home to their various walks of life. So having endured that, you expect the Lagos State government to do an amazing job, and one that would one that would last the test of time. But just a few months down the road, you can see the roads is in a terrible position, especially the shoulder, and it will start eating into the main road, and then we'll have to do it over and over again. Number one, it just shows the quality of contractors that Lagos State is hiring. It shows the standard of job they're doing, which is shoddy. And number three, it also shows the blatant lack of disrespect for Lagosians by making them go through this over and over again, and a complete waste of taxpayers' funds if you're not going to give it to proper contractors to do a good job, because anything we're doing
the bidding
is
process?
Doing well.
The bidding process is also a case.
Yes, was it an open bidding process? What's the history of this contract?
So my point is, if there was no express bidding process, there was no opening, and then eventually the roads go bad, who do you hold?
Yes, so there should be some level. It's just a simple
analogy. Who are you going to hold?
And our community work here, I mean, we're in a 5-kilometer radius from Government House in Alausa. The man who this road was named after was an excellent administrator. I'm talking about Latif Jakonde. Every other day, last week I had to change my ball joints because of the battering my car has been getting as a result of terrible roads in Lagos. And I mean, I can't send the invoice to the Lagos State government. I have to take money that was meant to use for other things to fix it. And this is not just my story, it's a story of so many Lagosians. Lagos prides itself as a center of excellence, but the quality of the roads and infrastructure, there's nothing excellent about it.
I'm sorry, I have to chime in now. The road from law school all the way to
Ozumba proper.
Oh my goodness. Please, Lagos State, if you're watching, I mean, to others who live in Abuja and other states scattered across Nigeria, please feel free to send in your information. We're streaming live on YouTube. Let us know what roads are pathetic and how dangerous they are. Ozumba Mbadiwe is a
major artery.
My goodness. It will shock you to note that commissioners came together and fixed that road for a sporting event that was held in Lagos a few months ago. And you could tell that it was hurriedly done in order to just ensure that the international community that was
themselves
coming,
some embarrassment.
Exactly, would say, okay, all right, yeah, they have good roads, because it was just a few radius away from where the event was anchored. But come on. Anyway, let's see what the Minister of, Honorable Minister, even though I've been told online that, please, let's stop adding honorable. Come on. respect is respect. We must do that. Honourable Minister of Works, let's just see what he had to say. I'm talking about Mr. Dave Umahi, Engineer Dave Umahi, what he said concerning the roads.
We go and evaluate the coastal highway tomorrow and the surroundings. Not because we are causing the flooding, but because the president has directed. We should go and they technically, evaluate it. We are calling the Lagos State government because we found out that the master plan of Lagos State government in terms of flooding, it's not been implemented. Because there are a number of designated points, lagoons, that this water is supposed to be drained to. It has not been done. That's one. Number two, you can see amount of refuse even on our way. You can see the indiscipline of Nigerians that carry refuse to block the drainage. You see the indiscipline of Nigerians that go to build on waterways. So this country belongs to all of us. So we must have to work.
Okay, all right.
So what the Honourable Minister was doing there is just basically deflecting responsibility, saying that there are proper drainage channels and outlets that Lagos State government that have been designated to release storm water and flood water, but they're not being followed. Buildings have been... Look, we know about this. We're talking of the one that the coastal road is causing, the environmental impact assessment of the coastal road. What it's doing is, shifting blame and responsibility back to the Lagos State government. And there's no way we can make progress with this sort of behavior and mentality. To fix Nigeria is a collective effort, and Lagos is dealing with a clear and present danger with regards to its geography. It's a coastal, low-lying coastal area geographically, and it's prone to flash floods. So if you're going to put critical infrastructure in Lagos State, you have to, consider every variable. And I mean, the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road is one of them. By pointing fingers back at Lagos State government, it's not going to do the residents and Lagosians any good. We should think of solutions.
Very sad.
Well, we're not alone today. We have the lady, Lady Olive. She's just joined us from investigative journalism.
From the Coastal Road.
Coastal Road. Do you take the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway?
I do, and I find
the shoulder?
Have you seen Ozumba, by the way?
I want to speak about the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway.
And Ozumba.
And I think that it's important that we talk about the terrible state of the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway, because we recall that early this year, a number of us had to find alternative routes. We had to go through Freedom Way at different points. At different times during the year, different parts of the road were blocked because the road was being repaired. We went through the most uncomfortable season, waiting out the repair of these roads with the hopes that things would look brighter. And they did look brighter when the roads were fixed. But for a minute, now the road is full of potholes. There are craters on that road.
Yes.
Our tires are at risk. Every time you're driving through there, you think you've mastered where the potholes are. But there are new potholes every day. So it then goes back to the question, all that inconveniencing, all that we're blocking this, from Lekki to Chevron, and from Chevron to the different parts of the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway that was blocked, all of that inconvenience we had to go through. Was it in vain? What was the quality of the materials used to repair these roads? How could a few floods easily just wash them off? Shouldn't it have been better that they just refilled the potholes as opposed to giving us the impression that they were fixing the roads from top to bottom? Because it feels like what the roads are right now are worse than what they were before they were fixed. And
it's not just restricted to the island, it's the mainland here. Latif Jakonde Road on our community office. You think you have mastered where the potholes are, but
a new one
shows up. They just give birth to me. Oh, hello,
I see you.
So I have to, learn it, and it's really saddening. It might sound like a joke to some people, but these are real life consequences. The amount of money the Lagos State government generates, you shouldn't be having the sort of shoddy infrastructure. I've lived in Asia. I've lived in Southeast Asia in the middle of the monsoon season, the Asian monsoon season. You can imagine the amount of rain and downpour that falls. The infrastructure is immaculate. You don't see this sort of washing away of makeup of the roads. It's just really terrible, and we hope the government does something about it as soon as possible. Lagos State Public Works Department. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue with Wake Up Conversations. So stay with us. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. It's now time for us to switch gears and move into our first wake-up story of the day. The Nigerian Army Air Wing yesterday stole the spotlight during the 2026 Army Day celebrations with its display of a daring helicopter rescue operation in Port Harcourt. The drill stage is part of Nigerian Army's 163rd anniversary. Displayed speed and coordination, underscoring the military's readiness for emergency missions. While many Nigerians praise the spectacle, others raise concerns about its execution, especially as it seemed like the helicopter nearly crash landed, questioning whether such drills truly reflect the Army's ability to confront real-life threats. The display has sparked nationwide debate, blending pride in the Army's show of strength with calls for deeper reforms to tackle insecurity in the country. Congratulations to officers, men and women of the Nigerian Army celebrating Army Day celebrations. And it's interesting that Port Harcourt was the city taken as host city for this year's NACDEL celebrations. Interesting display there by the Nigerian Army Air Wing. The Nigerian Army Air Wing, by the way, is less than 10 years old. It's part of the modernization of the Nigerian Army. I also have to say that the Navy does have its own air components to all of this to foster a 21st century army that can respond to, to emergencies and security threats against the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I think it's a good one. People are just exaggerating about it was not such a hard landing, but I mean, it can't be flawless all the time.
All right.
And in this situation, what they were simulating was a rescue operation. So time is of the essence. And also safety.
Congratulations to them on the simulation. We don't want simulation. We want to just see active rescues now. Let's no more do make believe. But we want to say kudos to the Nigerian Army. We can't underplay the hard work that they put into safeguarding us, protecting our territorial integrity. As much as we complain about the struggles with insecurity and terrorism that we as a country have to face, we cannot take away the fact that the Nigerian Army have sworn to protect us, constantly putting their lives on the line. So kudos to them. For me, I really don't have anything to say there. I don't really want to see make-believe. I just want to see the rescue. Recall that we still have people in the bush. We still have people in the forest in Oyo State, in Borno State, and we want to see all of them being brought back. We want to see the federal government giving them all the support that they need in terms of, defense gets the highest allocation on the budget, but to see that there is active cooperation, to see that there is an actual political will at work to ensure that those who have been rescued are brought back. I think that's all that I want to see. Joe?
Well, let's just see what Nigerians are saying. I think that's where I'm going to.
Nigerians will be speaking your mind.
Let them speak their mind. For me, there's nothing inside my mind. There's nothing on my mind, by the way. Let's see what Bashir says. The landing be like...
How do you say this about your army? You guys, you lack respect on this social medium. You lack respect.
Anyway,
please, SB
says, see how they pack
I say now he loves.
You people are rude. If easy, do
How can he say that? Please go back to that tweet. See as they pack the helicopter like Hilux, we pack for Quilox.
Hello. Yes, I hope that copper is grounded once it gets to base for a proper structural assessment and that the pilot is subjected to a thorough investigation. Okay, let's see again. They landed the helicopter like it was a commercial downfall. They proudly uploaded it as a PR material. And now this Nigeria is deep. Yeah, Jesus. How can you land a chopper as though you are parking a Faragon? Even if you want to park Corolla, it would be like this. Let me
compare this tweet. So there's nothing positive you could see in this comparison. Nah,
you people on this social media street,
you can't satisfy Nigerians.
You people
you're not. Please, let's go to the next story because this is one that concerns.
Yeah, let's go.
The controversy surrounding the disowned Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council (PFIPC) deepened on Monday as police stormed the Ogbomoso home of Prince Adeniyi Adeyemi, arresting his father.
What is this?
And a family friend. The move has drawn sharp criticism, with human rights lawyer Femi Falana describing it as illegal and unnecessary since Adeyemi had pledged to face trial himself. The incident has left many Nigerians raising concerns about due process in Nigeria's justice system. Meanwhile, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation and Presidency appear to have given conflicting accounts on PFIPC's alleged CBN accounts. The Presidency claimed DG Adeniyi Adeyemi used forged documents to mislead the OAGF and open one, while also running 34 accounts under fictitious agencies. But the OAGF later clarified that PFIPC has no operational CBN account, saying the application was incomplete due to missing documentation and signatory details. This is giving, I don't want to say one thing now so that my guy at the top will not come and see another thing. It's borderline embarrassing. But let's talk about the flagrant...
People are trying to save face too.
Yes. Let's talk about the flagrant abuse of court process, first of all. If Adeniyi Adeyemi, who is the subject matter in this case, who is the one that has a case, he has a court hearing. Last I checked, July 27th was when the next matter is to be heard. Why did we get to the point of issuing an arrest? I'm not quite sure why an arrest warrant was issued, or if an arrest warrant was issued, and why his father was involved, unless the police can prove a family friend.
In lieu of...
No, that's not a legal thing to do. Unless his father can prove, or unless the police can prove that his father is in a way linked to the fraud, and the warrant issued was for the father and the family friend. Are we a banana republic? What is this about the police going to arrest? It's borderline, it's giving the intimidation. It's borderline intimidation at this point. There are ways in which arrests are being carried out. When there's been a commission of a crime, when there's been a warrant that has been issued by, they've gotten the warrant and then they can go and effect the arrest. But if the warrant is for a person, you cannot, it's just like now, a warrant coming for Boeing and then you now arrest you.
Don't use me as an example.
I was waiting for that.
But on a serious note,
like
I bet his father is an octogenarian or even a septuagenarian. At that level, why you went to his house to effect an arrest, he wasn't there. You picked up just anybody who you can pick up. And that's why Nigerian police is always in the spotlight for the wrong reasons. No way in the world can you arrest somebody in lieu of the individual you are looking to arrest. That's why individuals are themselves. Every fingerprint is unique to that individual. So if Prince Adeyemi is the wanted person, why do you pick up his father? Like Olive said, except the Nigerian police can prove that it was an accessory to any crime that Mr. Adeyemi is said to have committed. Otherwise, this is just blatant abuse of his fundamental human rights and that of their family friend.
Binga, first of all, we must give kudos to Premium Times newspapers this morning, and I think they deserve to also be commended. They've done fantastically well. Just yesterday, we did have one of our guests who joined us here. I'm talking about a former special advisor to the former Lagos State Governor, His Excellency Governor Ambode, and I'm talking about the person known as Mr. Bibarona. He had said that look out, that Premium Times in due course would jump into a deeper investigative journalism concerning this issue. And they've done that. They've broken it down. Apparently, it seems that fingers are also pointing to a lot of persons within the hierarchy of the presidency, let me put it that way, inside the presidency. Now, let me say this so that Nigerians can get a clearer understanding of what we do here as journalists sometimes. This story is going to be a story that we will not let to die. It will not die. We will continue to infuse life into this story until something is done. I'm a bit disappointed this morning, I would say, and I know like many Nigerians are equally disappointed. The president yesterday spoke out yesterday, talked about the FCT development, how they've removed the Federal Capital Territory from the TSA. So the TSA now, the Federal Capital Territory operates on its own. It's no longer, it's not part of the Treasury single account. And everybody was listening to that speech yesterday.
Why this?
And everybody was like, it said so that it will enable it to speed up its processes in carrying out infrastructural development and so on. But that's a bit worrisome. The president also yesterday called for a complete forensic approach into Nigeria's social media space. And they called the PFIPC to look into it, look into Google and how they are benefiting from Nigerians and so on. In all of those statements he was making, Nigerians were expecting him to say, and concerning the case...
No, Joe, come on.
...of...
Joe, you've been on this job for a long time. You know...
Gbajabiamila, Honorable Gbajabiamila. I, as the president, have ordered for
a presidency.
Nothing,
third year.
Nothing
Joe,
was said.
The United States of America on Christmas Day bombed the president of the United States. These statements unprecedented in the history of Nigeria. It was the first time an external country would drop
a sovereign state
on a sovereign state, violating our integrity as a country. Something of that magnitude, the president did not speak. You expect the president to speak on a subject that is highly embarrassing to his presidency and that has senior members of his inner circle implicated in this. Joe, I don't think, Mr. President... Just
to add again, the recently we hear that there's also a statement that the current office that was occupied by the embattled Prince Adeyemi had always existed. It was formed by the late President Muhammadu Buhari. But you see, Nigerians have come out and experts have said, please, let's not go there. It was not the same office. There are different offices. People have even gone ahead to bring out receipts. There's also a picture showing the embattled man you see there on the screen, where he was hanging out with members of the current administration. You know, I don't know if we have that picture. There you have him. You can pause this picture. Benga, who and who can you spot there?
Wow, are these government agencies?
There. I think
is that the vice president? Wait, is this AI?
It's not.
Is this real? Wow.
Even the vice president. That's the and that's the chairman of Bank of Agriculture. Shokere.
Okay. All right. Let's come back and speak about this. So just to mention, there are many layers to this conversation. One, the fact that an innocent man, until they can prove to us that this person isn't innocent, was arrested in lieu. We don't know whether substituted arrest is something that has now been implemented. In this case, that action is in contravention of the rule of law. You can't arrest someone's father whilst trying to get the person's attention. Meanwhile, this said person has a scheduled court case for the 27th of July. Have we gotten to the 27th of July and he failed to show up in court before issuing an arrest for him, not his father? By the time we now get to that point where people's parents can be picked up for their own actions, then we're in trouble. But it seems like that's where we are now. Two, there are so many explanations. The presidency is giving one. The Office of the Accountant General of the Federation is giving another explanation. Whilst the presidency says it's forged documents, Office of the Accountant General said he never really opened the accounts because the documents were incomplete. The question is, who is now telling the truth? The Arawa Youth Consultative Forum have come out to show support for Femi Gbajabiamila, declaring his innocence. Nobody is saying he's guilty. Did they conduct
any investigation?
Exactly. Nobody is saying he's guilty. What we're saying is the court is the only body and institution that has the right to determine any person innocent or guilty. Meanwhile, there's already a presumption of innocence, so we're already presuming he's innocent. What we're saying, however, is that the matter should follow its rightful investigative process. It's already in court. The matter should be logically seen through in the court. Adeniyi has made such strong allegations against the person of Femi Gbajabiamila. And like we've been saying, regardless of whether the presidency's standpoint holds or not, and the presidency's standpoint being that Adeniyi is a fraud, he's a fraudster, an impersonator, the question is, how did Adeniyi's office get a line item in the budget? We've been asking this question. Nobody has helped answer what the question.
Do you know there's a signpost of his office still there at the secretariat? There's a signpost that still points to his office. That this is the road to the PFIPC. There's a sign. So you mean the honourable members were passing, they saw that signpost. None of them stopped to say,
He didn't raise any eyebrow.
Hello, stop.
And when it was at the villa for that event, that picture we showed now, didn't he feel a register?
Of course.
Did he not go through security clearance? Did they not ask him who he was? I mean, even after the event, post-event, you interact, you exchange cards. When he was mingling with the Nigerian Diaspora Commission and all the VIPs we saw there, they didn't think...
No, nobody knew him. No, you see, the thing is that it's like a superhero movie. He was just Transformer. He was just appearing there. All
right. To also mention, the reporting by the different media houses, Daily Trust reported that the council reportedly operated out of the office of the Special Advisor to the President and Coordinator for Livestock Development at the Federal Secretariat in Abuja. Then, Premium Times, I think Joe had mentioned, applauding Premium Times, they had reported that the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation actually wrote to the CBN on July 29, 2025, directing it to open 4 domiciliary accounts for 2 entities, the National Universities Commission and the PFIPC. And on August 13, 2025, the CBN confirmed they had opened a dollar and pound denominated account for the council. So an account was created by the CBN, even if maybe this account wasn't operational. There are too many mysteries that are, that this story starts to unfold. But the question is, we'd love to hear why his father has been arrested and if the police has now become a tool for bullying, oppression, and intimidation of people. We'll come into the details of the story, but start to drop your comments on YouTube. We'll head to YouTube to take comments. We're streaming live on News Central TV Live on YouTube, and we want to see your reactions to these stories. We'll take comments on YouTube, head to X, and then come back to take some more comments on YouTube. On YouTube, we are seeing here, Michael Zeus says, someone is trying to prevent Prince Adeyemi from appearing in court because his testimony and evidence may damage the high and mighty in Tinubu's government. Today is not yet 27 July. We have 20 days more to go. Mokia Chukwemeka says, may this Bajagate story not die. Amen. At OA says, why is the police arresting an innocent man? Now, wow. Nigeria is now officially a banana republic. So shameful. Nathan Emmanuel says, intimidation and to gag people from speaking. And then we see Femi Olagunju, who said, this development is sad. Why on earth would the Nigerian police force arrest Adeyemi's father? We don't know who's telling the truth, federal government or Adeyemi. Time will tell when the court rules on this matter. The Tinubu government keeps implicating itself. This is from USAS. It says, the Tinubu government keeps implicating itself with this issue. How did this pass through the Nigerian budget? I thought they checked these things. The government should come clean. The prince obviously didn't do it alone. Mokonye Chukwemeka says, yes, we are a banana republic. The powers of government want to silence their partner. And Frank Obute, it's not me who implicates. But let's have the reactions on X. I'll come back to take some more reactions on YouTube.
On X, we have MC Ugwemadu Esquire says, arresting the alleged substantive DG of the PFIPC is satanic. We had some guests who joined us, some lawyers who joined and said it's also not right. It negates our laws. It's inhumane and unjust. Section 7 of ACJA 2015 expressly prohibits such extrajudicial arrests. Besides, the father of such a man will be old by now. It seems federal government desperately wants to break the DG. Matthew Orahi says, this is called weaponizing the security agencies against the people. That's what Matthew says. Let's see more. Oduola Kolakpo says, was the father his guarantor? Why is this government of Tinubu dragging Nigeria backward into the 70s like this from all fronts? So says, that's your thought. Leo Ayodele Iyebu says, he was kidnapped by the state. Edun Adewale says, this is absolute tyranny. And that's what he says. But let me also run through as we move along. In a quick investigative report by Premium Times, they highlighted that the Office of the Secretary General of the Federation forwarded his office request to the EFCC chairman. That's what Premium Times has been able to dig up. They say on November 7, 2024, Adeyemi wrote to the Office of the Secretary General of the Federation requesting office space. He used State House letterhead but signed as DG of PFIPC. He wrote November 7. On November 21, 2024, the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation forwarded that request alongside requests from other legitimate MDAs to the EFCC chairperson, Ola Olukoyede, asking the EFCC to allocate offices from recovered federal government properties. The OSGF processed his application as legitimate MDA request. It put his name on the same list as real government agencies and sent it to the EFCC. This means the EFCC chairman received a formal Office of the Secretary General of Federation letter listing PFIPC as an agency requiring office space from recovered federal properties. This is before September 2025 visit to EFCC headquarters. So this was approved in 2024. He has spent a year, before he even visited the EFCC. The EFCC had contact with this operation at the institutional level before Adeyemi ever walked through their front doors. That's just one aspect of the... You could check online. Premium Times decided to do a deeper dive into the situation, unearthing some things by their reporters. Very interesting conversation we look to have, and whether you like it or not, hashtag Bajagate story is one big story that will not even blink or go in a hurry. It will continue to remain on the front burner as we wait for answers. Well, time for us to go straight to our top stories. While you think
that Lead with Benga on YouTube says, my prediction, the case is dead on arrival. Let's put it to a vote. Well, actually, do you think this is something that will not die, or it's a dead on arrival case like Lead with Benga says? Head to YouTube now, New Central TV Live, and then drop your comments there. Let's see what your vote is. Absolutely. Let's go to our top stories this morning. This morning on Breakfast Central, Minister of Works says Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway is not to blame for Lagos floods. He says they did not follow the original, then again, people. Anyway, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu orders FCCPC probe of big tech companies. We'll talk about that. It's a very, very serious situation. And then again, like we mentioned, Bajagate controversy continues. The Federation denies fake PFIPC claims. And we'll look at FCT teachers. They protest. NUT raises alarm over lack of promotion, accuses FCTA. And then we have the front pages of the newspapers. This is Breakfast Central. Welcome. Stay with us. The controversy surrounding the recent flooding in parts of Lagos has taken a new turn, with the Minister of Works, Senator Dave Umahi, rejecting claims that the ongoing Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway is responsible for the flooding. Instead, the minister attributes the problem to the non-implementation of the Lagos State's flood management master plan, poor drainage infrastructure, and the indiscriminate dumping of refuse into drainage channels. Speaking during an inspection of the Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway, Umahi revealed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed a technical assessment of the coastal highway corridor to determine the actual causes of the flooding and recommend engineering solutions. He maintained that the coastal road was designed with adequate drainage systems and insisted there is no technical evidence linking the project to the flooding. Well, let's take a look at the video where the Honorable Minister of Works actually spoke to members of the press.
The team will go and evaluate the coastal highway tomorrow and the surroundings. Not because we are causing the flooding, but because the president has directed we should go and they technically, evaluate it. We are calling the Lagos State government because we found out that the master plan of Lagos State government in terms of flooding, it's not been implemented. Because there are a number of designated points, lagoons that this water is supposed to be drained to. It has not been done. That's one. Number two, you can see amount of refuse even on our way. You can see the indiscipline of Nigerians that carry refuse to block the drainage. You see the indiscipline of Nigerians that go to build on waterways. So this country belongs to all of us. So we must have to work.
What we've done this morning is we've gone as far as ensuring that we have someone who definitely is a quantity surveyor who joins us this morning. We're being joined by Koleade Adeoti, who joins us live via video conferencing. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's good to start this story with one who has worked, especially with construction and the likes. Good morning.
Good morning, Tor. Good morning, Binga, and good morning, Olive.
All right, great.
Happy to be on the show this morning.
Interesting. Happy to have you. From a construction and infrastructural management perspective, can a project like the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway directly cause flooding in surrounding communities? But before you answer that question, I'm sure you've plied that route. Have you been to the Lagos-Calabar, Coastal Highway? You've used that?
Yes, I've been to the road, and I've not really toured it to the end, but I've been to VI, where the road started from about, let's say, 5 kilometers. When the construction was on, I visited the place.
Okay, so back to my question now. Do you think that road is capable of causing what we see in Lagos metropolis, flooding?
Yes and no. I have my reasons for saying this undefinitive answer. The reason is that the coastal road is being constructed on a low-lying ground, such that they had to, fill up the ground. They had to, bring up the level of the proposed area where the road is to be constructed. This led to the, stopping water, as in flood water that is rising. When it rains, apart from the water that is coming from the sky, water level, underground water table also rises. These were not properly put into consideration when the construction was being done. There are supposed to be, ducts underneath the roads that can allow water to seep through when the flood rises. And if you notice, this Agungi area, this Aja axis, the road is not sufficiently, constructed with these mitigating features that can reduce the flood. However, Lagos is prone to flooding from time. We all know that, due to incessant dumping of wastes on the waterways. This has caused a lot of problems. We know that, but the problem we are facing with this coastal road right now is inadequate structures, like hydraulic structures and underground water ducts that can allow water to pass through. Because right now the coastal road is like a fence or a wall surrounding those areas that have been flooded now. So basically, it will take a lot of engineering intervention to correct this problem, because the areas that have been flooded now were not properly put into consideration when the job commenced. And as it is now, they will need collaboration between the federal government and Lagos state government to put an end, or at least to correct this issue to an extent. Clearing of the waterways, building more drainages that can, serve as a recourse for this sudden, unpalatable development that we are facing right now.
So is it safe to say that this goes back to the conversation or the question that a journalist asked the minister at the beginning of all of this, about if they had conducted an environmental impact assessment on this area before conducting the project? Is that a conversation to restart?
Yes, I think proper survey was not done, which is, before you go into construction, is what we call the survey you do before your construction. This environmental impact assessment, I don't think it should have been done during the rainy season, such that they can easily see that, okay, these areas needs to be well taken care of while constructing. So I think it all goes back to that environmental environmental impact assessment.
Now, Mr. Adeoti, the minister also blamed indiscriminate refuse disposal for blocking drainage channels. If you do an assessment of the Lagos Coastal Road, you notice that some of the manholes have been vandalized, and inside those manholes, you have refuse dumped, especially in the first few kilometers of that road. How much of a contributory factor is this to the flooding in that area?
My observation is contributing, but it's not the major factor. Because if you can fly a drone past where it's being affected right now, you will see that the coastal road has formed a blockade.
Yes.
Yes. So basically, and underneath the coastal road, they are supposed to be ducts. You understand? Penetrable ducts where water can flow through into the lagoon. Most of these, the construction of this coastal road, if you watch, maybe like after a kilometer or two before you will see an underpass or of a drainage, which is not supposed to be. This something is supposed to be continuous over the stretch of the road.
So what this basically
means,
own view, what this basically means is that water is trapped on one side of the road, or both sides, because
yes,
the road is on an elevated platform. So what remedial solutions could we be looking at here? Because I mean, it wasn't factored into the construction. They've crossed that bridge. So what could really happen now? What options are left to the Federal Ministry of Works and the Lagos State government to help mitigate the flooding that the coastal road has contributed to?
Thank you. Basically, right now is collaboration between the federal government and Lagos State government. Lagos State government will handle their, drainage master plan, then put measures in place to penalize people who are dropping waste into the canal and blocking the waterways. Secondly, the federal government needs to implement some structural changes on the road, which will, in a way, help whatever the Lagos State government does in terms of channeling the flood water along the paths of the coastal road. Then everything will work together that way. The federal government will have to provide engineering infrastructure on the road that will help to channel the flood water coming from from the sides of the road. But Lagos State government too, they have to, do more than they are doing right now. Although they are trying, they have to do more. The problem is with the people. We need to educate ourselves more. The dangers that are inherent in indiscriminate dumping of refuse
and I agree with
and building on waterways.
Yeah.
Some people have built across the waterways.
And I agree with you. I mean, last time we had Commissioner here, he had mentioned that we also are aware that there are factors that determine how this can be solved. You've mentioned some of them, highlighting the key area of the Lagos Coastal Road, which is one thing we want to look into. This morning on my way to work, I did see a lady who was dumping refuse into the gutter. I mean, I wish I had enough time. It was raining. I wish I could stop and try to play my own role by cautioning her, but I couldn't. It just shows that the mental state of Nigerians needs to change. But there's a major problem again. And being one who has worked in construction or still in construction, the bridge, the coastal road, some areas seems to be elevated while the houses are just below. If you see videos, some persons have flown drones. You see where the bridge kind of like goes up. The houses are below. So when the water comes, it covers the houses. Is there any hope? Because they're watching. Is there any hope for people who own homes there? What would you advise they do? does it look like an end? They have to pack out because they cannot, in a way, break their houses and take it up. What advice do you have from a construction point of view?
Right now, we are, entering deep into the rainy season. As for me, those who are seriously affected, I will advise they relocate for a while.
Yeah?
While the federal government and the state government are putting up efforts to, channel this water one way or another, because you can't just stay back and say, this is my house, I'm not leaving, and, God forbid bad thing happens. So those who are more affected, that I think they need to relocate for a while, you are looking for ways to solve this. Because number one, the waterways needs to be cleared first, such that even those areas that are below the coastal road, they can have a breather if the water that is rising and coming into their area is flowing away. Maybe the government will have to find another channel, maybe they'll have to, demolish structures, even buildings, to construct a new canal that will lead the excess water from these trapped zones down into the lagoon.
Wow. Okay. That's like a new reality. So anyone watching this morning, we've seen houses submerged already.
Right.
And also,
Yes.
the speed of...
We saw what happened in Ghana. It's not funny.
No, it's not.
it's terrible.
Okay.
And also the speed at which the government is going to use to, apply and fix this remedial efforts. This remedial efforts is another cause of concern, because we're talking of fixing just potholes, and we have potholes that have been there for months, let alone this sort of major project. But I guess we still keep hope.
Right. Let's talk about what your projection is for where we're going from here. There have been reports about parts of Lagos being submerged in the next few years. There's also been the complaints about people building on drainage channels. If you could advise the government of Lagos State in this moment, what advice would you give to them?
Oh, thank you. My advice to the government at this point is that strict building codes should be enforced in terms of getting structures out of the waterways. Is very, very important. We have estates that are blocking canals in Lagos, but you know how it is, Nigerian problem. You want to do this, somebody with a long hand will stop you. So basically, we need to also work on the mindset of the people, that we need to be more sensible with the way we dispose of our waste. Waste management authorities, waste management companies need to step up and be more proactive, because even before the coastal road, Lagos have been experiencing this kind of problem. And in order to avoid this getting worse in the future, the strict building codes have to be enforced. The waste management, they need to up their game as well. And as for then future construction of similar roads or similar projects like this coastal road, the environmental impact assessment should be done maybe during the rainy season. So I think with these measures, we can have a better tomorrow in Lagos State.
Thank you so much for joining us. Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing your expertise with us, looking at the current state of Lagos and its flooding challenges. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ben.
All right. Let's now go to Delta State, where the government says it is expecting not less than 25 prospective investors from Brazil and China in the forthcoming Delta State Investment and Economic Summit scheduled for next month. Just as Vice President Kashim Shettima, Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and Patrice Lumumba will be headlining a high-powered list of participants. News Central's correspondent, Austin Azu, completes this report.
Delta State is finalizing preparations for its upcoming investment and economic summit, scheduled for next month, August. The summit, themed Harnessing Our Strength and Potential, is aimed at bridging the gap between the state's economic potential and local international capital.
You meet yourselves and then do some cleanups and set timelines and
an interactive session with stakeholders in Asaba. Secretary to the state government and main organizing committee chairman, Dr. Kingsley Emu, said the state will at the event present specific bankable investment opportunities in key sectors like agriculture, energy, manufacturing, among others.
Today it's a day set aside to engage with the organized private sector, who are going to form the nucleus of the local partners to our foreign investors at the summit. We already have over 25 Brazilian companies coming in, over 20 Chinese companies coming in related areas, in our areas of our strengths and our potentials. And then the essence of this meeting is for them to prepare themselves and get us the list so we can publish them, because our people are also, foreign investors are also looking at them. It also offered us opportunity to reinstate or reiterate our strengths. And we have said, yes, we are very strong in agriculture, and we want them on agro-allied industries across the value chain. We want them on our agric. We're looking at cassava, we're looking at rice, we're looking at vegetables, we're looking at avocado, and we're looking at oil palm. These are the things we're pushing forward as the things that we want to sell to our investors who are already abreast with what we have. And then we're also saying that we're very strong in solid mineral. We have kaolin, we have lignite, we have silica, and we have coal. And we're very strong because we have a lot of companies who are already operating in this environment within this subsector, and we're selling that to the world.
Speaking on behalf of the Nigeria Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Janet Olisa believes public-private collaboration will turn the summit into tangible investments, job creation and lasting economic growth. In Delta, for News Central, Austin Azu.
Let's also tell you that members of the Nigerian Union of Teachers FCT chapter halted ongoing 2025 promotion exam exercise scheduled to hold at the premises of the National Open University of Nigeria in Abuja. They say the FCT administration have refused the promotion of their members, putting them into untold hardship, which has now affected their mental well-being. The chairman of the union accused the FCT administration of systematically plotting to ensure the failure of their members, following outcry over the failure of government to end the violation of the rights of teachers.
In 2023, most of them wrote, and they were not given promotion letters. In 2024, they wrote, no good thing happened. Now they have come for 2025. The bone of contention is this. We are teachers. We are not office workers. We are not pool staff. If a teacher reaches the rank of promotion, give him his promotion so that he will go and remain in his class. It is happening in some states of this country. In Lagos, it is happening. In Adamawa, it is happening. You get to grade level 17 and you remain in your class. But with the introduction of FCT Civil Service Commission, the reverse now became the case. They now want teachers to suffer. Now that we are outside our classes, of what benefit is it going to be to the government?
Well, we just concluded the first hour of today's Breakfast Central. I was going to say wake-up conversation. And if you're just joining, don't despair. You've not missed out on much. But let's tell you that we still have a lot to uncover coming ahead. But let's bring you a recap of what we've done today. Vice President Shatima Okonjo-Iweala, the WTO DG, and 25 foreign investors set to attend Delta Economic Summit in Asaba. Minister of Works says Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway is not to blame for Lagos floods. And the National Union of Teachers raises alarm over lack of promotion and accuses the Federal Capital Territory Development Authority.
Let's tell you what's coming up next on Breakfast Central. President Bola Tinubu orders FCCPC probe of big tech companies, not forgetting content creators as well. Badgergate controversy continues. Arrests of Prince Adeniyi as well. And then the customs revenue targets, another conversation we're going to have. Stay with us.
Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has directed the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission to probe global tech giants Google, Meta, and X over alleged exploitation of Nigerian news content. The probe could redefine how international platforms engage with Nigerian publishers and content creators.
At the heart of this issue is whether these companies are profiting from local news without proper compensation, and what that means for the sustainability of the media industry. This move raises critical questions about digital fairness, intellectual property rights, and the future of local journalism in the age of big tech. Join us this morning for this discussion is the MD of Danville Technologies, Akintunde Opawale, joins us from Lagos, Nigeria. Good morning, Mr. Opawale. Do you believe companies like Google and Meta have exploited Nigerian news unfairly, and are you happy that the government is beaming the searchlight and the spotlight on them?
Yeah, thank you very much. I would say that it's not a unique case to Nigeria. So it's not that it's a Nigerian thing that we are being exploited. It's a case where technology has brought into perspective things that our laws did not cover, right, back in the day. So what our laws used to cover were the old way of how news were consumed and lifted, and all of that infringement. Our laws did not consider things around how technology is ingesting data or news now. So it's not an unfair situation, right, to us per se. It's about a gap that now needs to be covered. And I think that's what the FCCPC is doing right now, by trying to now listen to everybody and try to work out a scenario that is best for everybody. So it's not a unique case to Nigeria alone. It has happened in South Africa, right? And South Africa has been able to get something out of it. I think the court was able to award them about $40 million to be paid over a few years, right? So I think that's where we are at right now as a country as well. And it is a good thing that we are also now looking into that investigation ourselves.
Okay. So that means if you were to explain what this is all about, can you help break it down? What is the president trying to achieve with this? And how will this benefit Nigerians before we get to the aspect of content creators and so on? What is the goal, and how will it benefit Nigerians?
Okay, so I think it will benefit Nigerians in a lot of ways if we are able to get the law to cover us in certain ways. So first off, when a publisher publishes a content into the public domain, it does not automatically means that there's an infringement. So how would it help us would be if these platforms are able to only take, if you call it some sort of summarized content, but that still backlinks to the original owner or publisher or content creator. That way it even drives traffic, right? So if there's a reference to say, and in that way there will be no infringement per se, because if I as a person use any of these generative AI models, for instance, and it just gives me a line and says, let's say I seek it for an information, and it gives me a reference to say this is where I would eventually get to read the full news. That way it is good for us because it generates traffic, and it means anybody all over the world who does not even know you or your platform or your website address or anything about you could actually get to read your content. So that way, it helps us. But how does this even work, which is part of your question, is that currently publishers have platforms. Either you're using a website or a media platform like YouTube or any of these platforms, you publish your content. Now, we now have models like AI models or other platforms that scrapes the internet because you have published your data, you've published your content. It scrapes the internet and it takes all of that information that you have published and it sort of holds it, right? And what this now does for us is that it helps other people who do not know you but uses those platforms to access information about you or your content on those platforms. So like I mentioned earlier, the benefits to us will be in if we are making sure through our laws that we are covered where there is no infringement, where there is no total lift of an original content, of someone's content. And I don't have a reason to go back to the original publisher's domain to go consume that content. That is where there might be issues. But it benefits us if you look at the whole big picture.
All right, let's look at how this, you've talked about how it benefits us, but let's narrow it down now to content creators. There are certain apps that have been monetized outside Nigeria but haven't. So how would you say that, this benefits content creators, and how can Nigerian tech firms leverage this movement?
I think Nigerian tech firms can leverage this moment by making sure that we are working closely, with government. If you observe, it is not really the technology that is the problem. It is the enforcement of law. In this part of the world, we don't have as much enforcement as the EU and the other Western parts of the world. So what we can do, or what technology firms can do to leverage, is to work closely with the government. If we are able to have laws and enforcement that protect us and create even additional platforms that sort of safeguards us or that monitors when there's an infringement, or we build solutions that sort of protect the ecosystem, I think that is one way that technology firms can sort of take advantage of this current situation.
Now, let's talk about the fear of overregulation. What risk do you foresee if regulation becomes too heavy-handed on tech companies? Because some of them are of the view that, look, you don't have indigenous platforms that offer the services. We're already doing you a favor. You're using them for free. So why do you want to overregulate us? How do we have a situation where we're not throwing away the baby in the bathwater?
Good question. I think the fear of, I don't personally think that these tech firms are scared of laws. I think it is the unpredictability of regulation that they're usually, scared of. When the laws are clear, or when the law is clear, everybody knows where they are going into and what they need to. I think for us, even if we're scared of, not chasing these people away, what we just need to do as a country is to use precedents, right? We can leverage on precedents. There are countries, like I just mentioned,
South
the one that
Africa.
happened in South Africa.
What did South Africa do, and how did they resolve their situation with the tech companies?
Okay, so what they did is, is similar. Fortunately for us, even if we don't want to reference South Africa, we still got a ruling. FCCPC still got a ruling with, I think it was Google or Meta last year about
Meta.
Yeah, Meta, $220 million. So we have that even for our own reference, and we have that of South Africa. To answer your question about South Africa, it was also around the journalists feeling that they were, their data or information or their sweat was being infringed. And they took, the platforms to court. And taking them to court, they were able to win for about $40 million over a few years to be paid to them for the lifting of their information or news, right? And those are the precedents that I said we can easily leverage on. And then create laws or policies that protect us to say, in this part of the world or in Africa, if you're going to do XYZ with our content or with our news, you need to do XYZ. By doing that, and we're doing it in partnership with these platforms, we can't just create, some of these laws out of thin air, right? We have to consult. There has to be some sort of consultation. And the government, or especially FCCPC, would need experts, not just lawyers, because it's a thing for you to understand law. It's another thing for you to understand how this system works. So it's going to be, that's why I'm talking about working together, because when we have a collaboration of the legal team with experts in this field who understand how things work, we'll be able to create laws, and it won't feel like some of those policies that sometimes government just put out and you're wondering, didn't they think of these other things before they put out those laws, right? So if we do that, we will be able to work with them without they necessarily feeling like we're chasing them away, and it will remove that that theory of throwing the baby and the bathwater.
Right. Okay, well, we want to go on a quick break, but let's see if we can quickly highlight some of the key aspects that the FCCPC will have to deal with. One of it is that under the new investigation, which they've been asked to carry out by the president, areas of interest include allegations of market dominance and potential anti-competitive conduct. Second is the allegation of unauthorized extraction, scraping, ingestion, or commercial utilization of copyrighted news articles, which you also touched on briefly, broadcast materials, and other original journalistic content for the development and training of generative artificial intelligence models. Third is a concern regarding the lack of equitable commercial engagement between global tech companies and Nigerian news publishers. Central to this is the allegation that affected media organizations have been denied meaningful opportunities to negotiate fair compensation or appropriate commercial arrangements for the use of their journalistic content. So it kind of like makes sense if the media organizations come together. By the way, we have a complete gathering of all the media organizations for this. We have the Broadcast Organization of Nigeria. We have the NPO, under the umbrella of the NPO, Association of Nigeria, NPAN, BON, NUJ, GOCOP. So all of them together. I think that should make a fine gathering where they would sit down, look at the issues like you rightly just mentioned. But of course, I'm just telling you those who will be sitting down. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, I want us to look at the aspect of artificial intelligence, because this is another very important part where we'll see what Nigerians can get from that. But we'll go on a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. So we're still talking about the latest story regarding the president urging the FCCPC to look into Nigeria's content, not forgetting to Meta, Facebook, and the likes. The conversation, in case you missed out, we've had a lot. So you might want to go on YouTube when we're done to rewind and get all the details, by the way. But our guest is still here. I did mention we have one more question to ask. Artificial intelligence. It's still a growing aspect of news gathering, source, and everything. Can you share with us how this will heavily impact on what the president has asked the investigation to carry out? How will it impact on artificial intelligence and also those who are learning it right now?
Okay. I think it's with the directive of what the president has asked to be done. I think it's not so much of of an impact that it would have on how we consume artificial intelligence. It is just going to be the arrangement that happens in the back channel between the owners, the press, and artificial intelligence. So with the president's directive, it's that, probe how unauthorized extraction and use of copyrighted articles and content, is being done, and see if there's fair use, or in a case where payments need to be made or revenue sharing needs to be made, make sure that this happens, right? That's what the probe is going to, if there's been an infringement, and going forward, how this will work. So what would change isn't necessarily going to be too visible depending on how the probe turns out and the laws that would follow. It might not, I don't see it changing so much. Because for these platforms, how people consume, or what we call user journey, is very, very, very big. And remember, we are not the only ones using these platforms. It is being used by everybody around the world. And so they are not necessarily going to start changing how people are going to consume their platform just because of us. What will most likely happen, or that will change, will be what happens behind the scene, where there's revenue sharing. How do I mean? We already know that data has been scrapped, right? When these platforms were training their models, where they were training, for those who, training your model means, an artificial intelligence is a system that had to be trained for it to work the way it is working now. And at that time, when these data were being scraped, were being consumed for these platforms to be trained, we didn't have so much laws covering this. Even all over the world, laws had to be had to be produced, right, or made to protect things at that stage. Now, what can change going forward is if an artificial intelligence platform is now constantly pulling data from a particular source, for instance, from News Central, all the time. Every time people come to the artificial intelligence platform, I say, I need what happened to breakfast today, right? And the artificial intelligence now needs to come to News Central and pull data. And if that data is then shown to the user in such a way that the user does not have to go back to News Central to go read the full article or the full news or watch the full video, there has to be some sort of ad revenue sharing that I think, may come up at such situation. And I think those are one of the few areas that we might see change, come up.
Interesting.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We'll continue to follow up with this story and see how it plays out. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful conversation. But I think it's interesting to note, because whether you like it or not, every country has its own borders when it comes to guardrails, when it comes to how
protecting its interests.
Protecting, yes, the integrity, the interests, and most importantly, how information is being outsourced, how it's being used. Take, for instance, if you go to China, let's not even talk about North Korea. We do understand how they have their own apps. They ensure that
how they even have the Great Wall of China to prevent certain sites from operating within its borders.
Absolutely.
So it's not a free-for-all.
Yeah.
You also need to protect yourself from exploitation, because you can't be taking news materials. We work in a media organization. We know how expensive it is to generate news content, and then somebody uses it and you're not getting a fair percentage of the profits. It's only fair.
With social media now, with like Instagram, you use they're so big on copyright that if you're using, even with music, it's very hard for us to...
You'll be flagged.
Yeah, you'll be flagged if you're using content that's not yours. So, and it takes a lot. As somebody who creates content, I see the amount of work, the time. Sometimes you're editing and you're exhausted. It takes a lot to come up with this information. It's expensive, it's time consuming. It's important to get rewarded for that. But let's move on to the conversation. The House of Representatives Committee on Customs has approved the revenue target of 11.074 trillion naira for the Nigeria Customs Service in the 2026 fiscal year. Now, this comes as the service defended its budget proposal while raising concerns over issues it says could hinder the implementation of the proposed revenue target. News Central's Idong Joseph brings us more in this report.
target of 11.074 trillion naira, according to the Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Prince Adeniyi, is expected to come from non-federation account revenue, import VAT, the 4% free on board levy, and nearly 50% from federation accounts collections.
We expect 5.542 trillion in the federation accounts, 1.491 trillion in non-federation accounts, 2.273 trillion for import VAT, and 1.26 trillion for 4% FOB.
Adeniyi says that the service will continue to leverage technology and other initiatives to improve revenue generation, but raised concerns over some budget assumptions which could affect implementation.
Tariff on vehicles and levies on vehicles have been reduced significantly. So we believe that this is also something that may negatively affect.
Reacting to the reduction of tariff on imported vehicles, the chairman of the committee commended the federal government for the initiative.
It didn't say 5%, it said 15%. 15 and 5. 15 and 5. 20 and 10. So you should know this government has really helped. And then let us end it here. All you need to do is say thank you, Baba.
Meanwhile, the House Committee on Rules and Business presented a scorecard on bills and motions considered during the 3 years of the 10th House.
The number of bills introduced is 484. As for motions, 192 motions were referred to standing committees. To ad hoc committees, 28 motions were referred, bringing us to a total of 220. Petitions that were considered and passed by the House were 48. So this is the account for the third session.
As the House prepares for an open week to present a comprehensive review of its performance over the past 3 years and outlined expectations for the final year of the Assembly, the committee says that over 2,000 bills have so far been considered. In Abuja for News Central, Idong Joseph.
Thanks for watching and thank you for that report, Idong Joseph. We'll now go on a break, and when we come back, we still have a lot to discuss. Remember, Agbaja Gate is not a controversy that is dead yet. It is still an ongoing conversation, and we'll deal with that after the break. The Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, OAGF, has clarified that the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, PFIPC, does not operate an active account with the Central Bank of Nigeria and has not received any government funds or salary payments. The OAGF explained that although the process to open a CBN account for the PFIPC was initiated, it was never completed because the required documentation, including authorized account signatories, was not submitted. As a result, the account never became operational.
The clarification follows allegations involving the PFIPC and its convener, Adeniyi Adeyemi, who was described by the presidency as an imposter. The OAGF also dismissed claims that the agency recruited staff or received budgetary allocations, insisting that none of the statutory approval processes required for funding or payroll has been completed. Joining us this morning is the Head of Research and Policy Advisory at Budget, Adejoke Akinbode. Good morning to you, Adejoke. Thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, Adejoke, the first question is, can Budget confirm that the PFIPC was indeed captured in the 2026 budget? Was there a line item that allocated funds to the PFIPC? And also, yes, just let's start with that first.
Let's start with that.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Looking at the 2026, when the allegations came to limelight, so what we did was to go back to the budget documents. As you all know that budgets, we analyze the federal government's budget documents on a yearly basis, which we had done earlier on in the year. So we went to look at the budget, and lo and behold, we saw the agency under the presidency with an allocation of around 1.3 billion naira. So yes, the agency is actually in 2026 budget documents.
All right. Now that you've clarified that the PFIPC was indeed captured in 2026 national budget, just to walk us through what the process of approving a budget is like, so we know, where that could have come from. How do they decide what should be a line item, and who approves? I mean, we all know it's the National Assembly, but just for the avoidance of doubt, walk us through the process of putting together the budget and approving it.
I mean, when it comes to the budgeting process in the country, the first thing is that, according to MTF, MDAs are to prepare their budget documents. So agents, ministries, departments, and agencies will prepare their budgets and submit to their mother ministries, right? So for this agency that we're talking about, it is listed under the presidency. So ideally, what we believe they have done or they did is that they had prepared their budgets and submitted it to the presidency, because that is their mother ministry, right? Before so when all ministries submit all their budgets and they put it together, that is when we have a budget document. Because we have for the federal government, we have just one budget document, which now goes to the National Assembly. So I mean, I think the first the presidency, if the presidency says this agency does not exist, but in the budget documents, this agency is listed under their mother ministry, the presidency, right? There's something missing that we do not understand, and they actually need to explain to us, because the mother ministry would know all the agencies that is functioning under them, right? So it's the mother ministry that is not going to put together all the agencies and departments' budgets that is under them before they now submit it to the National Assembly for collation together. So so that is it. Agencies, departments, prepare their budgets, submit to their mother ministries.
Okay. I mean, so now we've confirmed that the ministry exists. It was put in the fiscal budget, and that means obviously the presidency acknowledges that agency does exist. Well, if you look at it that way, because it had the president's signature.
Absolutely.
Can we say that because the president assented his signature, he must have gone through it, and there's also a committee in the National Assembly that is saddled with responsibility to go through the budget. I don't know if I'm right. You can put me through if we're not
to scrutinize
right to scrutinize the budget before it is being eventually passed. Isn't that so?
Of course, in an ideal situation, right? So there should be a committee that will actually scrutinize the budget document that has been submitted. Whether that was done or whether they do that is what we cannot ascertain. But in an ideal situation, that should be the process.
Okay.
And I mean, they need to scrutinize all MDA's budgets one by one in an ideal situation.
Okay, let's go to the Central Bank of Nigeria now. The Central Bank of Nigeria, there's a back and forth. Monies were not paid into the account, monies were paid.
Or even the existing of the account.
Exactly. Is it as easy as possible for an account to be opened by the Central Bank of Nigeria for an agency of government? Is it easy to just open an account like that? What will it take?
Oh, no, it's not that straightforward. I mean, it's unlike the commercial banks that anybody can walk into the bank to, open an account, whether savings or current accounts. For CBN, it's not as straightforward as that, right? Because the first thing is that CBN does not, they're very different from our regular commercial banks. They do not operate like the commercial banks. And CBN is not a retail bank. So what they do is they only, maintain accounts for the federal government, for state governments, for commercial banks and other financial institutions. So before you can even say you want to have a CBN account as an institution, right, or maybe as a government agency, the first thing is to determine your eligibility. So CBN is going. So if you don't fall under the categories, or maybe you're a federal government agency or departments or ministries, or maybe you're not a licensed commercial banks, you're not a microfinance bank that has its operating license, right? There's some other eligibility criteria that are going to check. Then you cannot even, open a CBN account And again, even when you meet those eligibility criteria, another thing is that you need to, they need to ensure that you have your legal status. They will check your legal status. I mean, if you're a commercial bank, you must have a banking license from the CBN. If you are an agency, a government agency, they need to ensure that you're actually legally established. And this speaks to the controversial agency that we are discussing today. Is the agency legally established? We really cannot even say with the old news that is flying around, right? And after that, then you have to submit an application to CBN. And of course, the application, just like you write a normal formal application letter, which is also going to come with some attachments like your CIN, your tax identification number, your the signatories to the account. You need to submit their identification, their ID cards as well. You need to your contact details, your operating license where applicable, your certificates of incorporation, and so many other things. So opening a CBN account is not straightforward, unlike for commercial banks that you can, within 30 minutes, 1 hour, you are done opening your account. CBN, it has a very long process of opening accounts with them. And of course, they will also carry their due diligence and compliance, right? So yes, it's not as straightforward. It's not really easy to open an account with the CBN because even when you meet all these criteria, it still needs to be approved by some appropriate CBN, some departments at the central bank, right? So even after the due diligence and they still do not maybe find, they might just find one tiny little detail and say, no, we don't want to approve this person to open an account with us. So it's not as straightforward as we think.
Okay, I just wanted to follow up. Does it in any way involve the DSS and SSS at some point to ensure that whoever is the people involved in that agency are well scrutinized and checked?
So why I will not categorically say it involves the DSS at some point, but the part of the due diligence that CBN is supposed to carry out is to ensure that you do not have any fraudulent or criminal record before you open an account instead. So I'm not too sure if DSS is involved, but CBN, while they are doing their due diligence, they need to ensure that your books are intact, your integrity is intact, you do not have any fraudulent or you don't have any case probably with, our some agencies that look into frauds in the country. They need to ensure that your books are clean 100% before they open an account for you.
But just to follow up as well, does this include the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation? Because we have seen two conflicting reports, and we're not quite sure which to follow. When this news broke out, the presidency, through Bayo Onanuga, made a statement alluding to the fact that he opened a CBN account fraudulently by providing false information, deceiving the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. The OAGF, on the other hand, has now said that he doesn't have an account with them as there was incomplete documentation. So it's hard to see which is a more likely position. I don't know if you have an explanation to that and which angle you most likely tilt towards.
I mean, why we can see the news flying around. For a government agency, I want to believe that the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation should be aware before you open an account with the CBN, because at the end of the day, they would be sending funds to you through the CBN. So if they are not aware, then so I want to believe that they should be aware before it says, so this agency is probably, we need an account with the CBN. They should know that, yes, they want to open an account with the CBN. So whether they give the approval or not, or whether it is necessary to get approval from them, is what I really cannot speak to, right? But ideally, they should be aware that, yes, this particular agency is about to open an account with the CBN.
Now, Adejoke, just before we let you go, I want to segue a bit away from this issue. It still has to do with the budget, but quite a lot of Nigerians are shocked by this development. Almajiri Commission earmarks 8.4 billion for road projects. The National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children Education is earmarking 8.4 billion naira in the 2026 budget for road construction, which is outside a statutory mandate. I mean, Nigeria is even dealing with more children that are getting out of school. We understand the gravity of the Almajiri problem. So what's the business of the Almajiri Commission with roads, and how did this how did this pass the scrutiny of the National Assembly? Why is it a line item in the budget?
I mean, I'm not surprised to hear that, right? Because it is normal. Okay, so it's not normal, but normal. So to say, it has become a norm that you see MDAs having line items outside of their mandates in their budget documents year in, year out. I mean, these are things that we look into, we see in the budget every year. So saying an institution or an agency that is meant for out-of-school children say they want to, construct roads is not surprising to me at all. Why we've not done our insertions analysis in the budget for 2026, right? Last year, when we looked at the 2025 budget, we did, beyond the analysis we did a separate document that we named insertions. So for 2025 budget, we were able to uncover over 11,000 projects that were inserted. Just looking at, so what we do is that we look at the proposed budgets, and we look at the approved budgets, and look at the differences in the line items, because most times, or I would say virtually every time, we realize that the proposed budget figure is always lesser than the approved budget figure. So definitely something has happened. So last year we uncovered over 11,000 projects that were inserted in the approved budget for 2025. And I think the total of this project was almost 7 trillion naira, around 6.9 trillion naira, right? So it's not surprising to see such findings in our budget. A lot of times our MDAs, the kind of projects or line items that you see that they want to implement are always out, and a lot are always outside their mandates.
Well, it's quite shocking. I mean, that's just an eye-opening revelation. Just last year, 2025, 11,000 insertions that were outside their statutory mandate, and they haven't. Budget hasn't done the 2026 insertion analysis. Imagine what they will unravel. And this 8.5 billion, what is the business of Almajiri Commission with constructing roads, and what's our obsession with roads? When are we going to start working on the human beings, the quality of the people that live inside this country?
Because it's the road that will lead you from where you are to where the government wants you to go to.
Bode Thomas.
Okay. All right. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of the conversation. As we wrap up the conversation, let's get you in a few seconds, share with us what you think will be the next steps for the government to regularize. What should be the next steps for the government to fix this terrible situation that has again further, widened the trust deficit that is already lacking between citizens and the government?
I mean, I think the first thing is that they need to ensure that relevant law enforcement agencies, they need to get to work immediately to carry out investigation into the circumstances surrounding this whole agency's allegation. Because, I mean, this is surprising that the agency is not even under just any ministry, but it's under the presidency. So it's very alarming. So they need to ensure that they get to work immediately. Investigation needs to be carried out. They need to establish how this agency was introduced into the federal budget. They need to identify all public officials that were involved, or maybe, and even some institutions will be involved at every stage of the appropriation process. They need to determine why there was an allocation to an agency that they claim does not exist, right? So, I mean, the budget has been approved. So definitely, whether they've even disbursed funds to this agency, whether they've not disbursed, they need to establish that as well. So, the first thing is to start investigation and ensure that everybody that is involved are brought to book.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. The government has a huge responsibility, and several of the bodies have been implicated in this, because until this is resolved, it will further widen the gap, the trust deficit. But we thank you for taking the time to share with us this morning. I look forward to further conversations with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. As News Central prepares to host its Katsina Town Hall on Thursday, we take the conversation to where the impact of insecurity is felt most deeply. Our reporter is live from an informal settlement where families displaced by years of banditry and violent attacks are rebuilding their lives. While Katsina no longer has an official state-run IDP camp, thousands of displaced persons continue to live in host communities and informal settlements across the state. Today, we hear directly from survivors about the realities of displacement, the challenges they face, and the hope that conversations like the upcoming town hall will lead to practical and lasting solutions. Let's now cross over to our correspondent, Bernard Akede, who's with us in Katsina. Hello, Bernard. Good morning. Where are you? Speak to us about what the reality is of these survivors who unfortunately have had to redefine what living every day looks like for them.
Good morning, Oli. Good morning, Benga. Yes, you clearly did state I'm in Katsina State at the moment, and in preparation towards our town hall, concerning the insecurity in Katsina, and that will hold on Thursday. I currently am in an area called Liafa. This is in Katsina LGA, and as you clearly did state, yes, sometime in November last year, if the information I have is correct, the government did shut down all the formal internally displaced persons camps, that's IDP camps, across the states, and they were for certain reasons. First of all, so that the people in these camps could be reintegrated with society and back to their ancestral homes, and so that development, sustainable development, could be taken to those areas. But unfortunately, the reality on ground is that not everybody has been taken back to their initial the initial places where they came from, and so as you can see around me that this is an uncompleted structure, and I'm told that this is a temporary IDP camp where certain persons have been staying. I have Abdullahi here who's going to help me break it down, and then besides Abdullahi, I also have some of the persons here who are going to join us. Let her come forward. Now, we would try to establish, how many people actually are in this, reside in this temporary IDP camp and what their situation is. Abdullahi, thank you so much. Unfortunately, my spoken Hausa language is a bit below proficient. So Abdullahi is going to help interpret what she is saying from Hausa to English and vice versa. Abdullahi, please, I'd like to find out what her name is and how long they've been here in this camp for.
Okay, Hajiya yana so zai san yaya sunanki kuma kaman tsawon wani lokaci kuke kuna nan wajen.
To, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Ni sunana Rahama Rabi'u Yusuf. Mu 'yan gudun hijira ne. Mun samu kamar shekarar da ta kai 4 nan wurin. Wannan gida ba namu bane, mun dai gani mun gudu dalilin an kora dukiyar mu mun zo nan mun zauna. Dalilin wata Aisha, Hajiya Aisha Abuja take, ta zo ta gan mu cikin damuwa. Ta rinka tallafa mana da abinci. Har ya kai ta tambaye mu muna iya kiyaye mata dabbobi ne, muka ce mata za mu iya tunda abin da muka iya kenan. Ta sau mana dabbobi wanda ke iya rika 2 da wanda ke iya rika 1 da wanda ke iya rika 3 da ta rarraba mana, kuma sannan ta sanar da ma'aikatan da ke cikin unguwa ta ce su rinka kulawa da mu dalilin akwai kiwonta wurin mu, kuma su ma sun san da mu, sun san da abin da ta ba mu, don haka muna godiya. Dalilin haka kuma tana taimaka mu tayin tana waiwayo mu, tana ba mu abincin da za mu ba 'ya'yan mu. To mun gode, kuma muna fatan Allah shi ba wanda duke da niyya ya taimaka muna, ko ta hanyar gwamnati ko ta hanyar sa kai, muna fatan Allah shi ba duka mai ba mu. Allah ya taimake ku, Allah ya ba ku ikon mu kuma ku taimaka mu. Mun ga kuma masu alama ne, saboda wasu in sun zo suna zuwa dalilin su yaudare mu, su dauki sunan mu, su dauki hoton mu, su je kuma ba dalilin a ba su abin su kawo mu. Dan haka mu yanzu muka makyamaci wannan abin, amma mu kuma da zo ku mun ga kuna da alamar tausaya mana, don haka muka tsaya muka saurare ku. Mun gode.
So what did she say briefly?
So she said that all the village that he's staying in here is not their own. So it's one Hajiya Halima that helped them. So she brought this animal for them so that they can continue raising them. When the animal get bad, they should take one. So they asked the security for this. Maybe there is one civil defense officer. So the Hajiya told them to keep watching eyes with them, so that she can see what they are doing. Because of this insecurity, So that's the reason they are here.
Okay. Do we know how many of them are here?
Haja, to let her come and tell us.
Okay.
Come on, Zaku kai kuno anan. Okay.
Maza su tara ne.
The man they are staying here is 9.
You said there are how many people here?
Only the man.
The men. Okay.
Yeah,
the men.
okay. They are staying here is 9.
9. Okay.
But the woman is 15.
15. Okay. And the children? How many children?
Yara nawa
Yara gaskiya ai ba ni iya ganiya ta take daya.
She didn't know maybe all the family that are staying here, everyone has theirs.
Okay. So besides the livestock, I'm seeing the goats. Besides the livestock, the goats, I'm seeing that there are farms here, corn and other things. Are they the ones, growing these farms? Is this their means of livelihood?
So yana tambaye cewa gonan da ya ga gona anan noman da ake nan kuke yi.
Wallahi dalilin mun ga muna zaune kuma mun ga hilin gidan yayi yawa kowa an dan gungunta mai yana noma kuma wannan mata wadda nake ga amku ce Hajiya ga wadda ta taimaka mana da dabbobin ga hada makaranta ta sa ƴaƴan mu ta kawo mana malami biyu ɗaya na koya mu ɗaya na koya mu yaran mu kuma ta kai su makarantar boko yanzu haka duk sun tahi wallahi mun gode.
She said that all the family you are seeing here is them, they share it. Every person has his own.
Okay.
So even the Hajia they are telling is the one who take their own children to school. So the Hajia brought 2 teachers for them. One teacher is teaching the parents, one teacher is teaching the children.
Thank you so much. And finally, let me ask her, have they had any chance to speak to the government about what's going on and what they are expecting?
To ya ce kun samu wani dama wadda kuka yi gwamnati magana ko me kuke tsammani akai?
Wallahi dai ana dan zuwa muna ba da raɗaɗin abin da ke damuwan mu ana shishigowa haka to waɗansu dai kaga ba mu san dalilin da ya kawo su nan ba amma suna zuwa su yi mama tambayoyi kuma mu ba su ciwon mu to ba lalle bane ba wani ya dawo ya ce mama ga sakon da muka yi a maido mama shi duka yawanci ma haka ake samu kuma mu mun tabbata duk wanda ya zo ya kawo muka ba da koken mu inda za su zuwa su kai ana ba su mu ne dai ba za a zo a kawo mana ba.
She said that some people used to come here to take them, to ask them what is going on with them. So if they go, they will never come back for them here. So she don't know whether the problem there. He don't know what he.
Okay, what's the name of the Hajia who brought them here again?
Yeah, so now Hajia the Takakona.
Hajia Aisha.
Hajia Aisha. Nagudi Hajia. Thank you so much. All right. Back to the studio, guys. Thank you so much. You heard everything. I'll try to summarize basically. So from the information we have here, the people here were brought here by a certain Hajia Aisha who gave them the livestock that we see around here, asked them to rear this livestock, and then from the offspring that the livestock have, they can earn a living. Also, they have the land here, possibly you'll see around eventually, they have the land here where they have been growing certain crops, and they've divided it amongst themselves so that they can grow, they can feed, and possibly sell. They gave the number of people here, the men 9 I believe she said, and the women I think she said 15, but the children, she doesn't have the number of children here. So this is the reality across the state. Certain IDP camps, or should I say temporary IDP camps, where we still have persons who have been displaced and who have been taken away from the government established camps. Again, remember I did mention that in November last year the government shut down the camps for certain reasons, particularly so that the internally displaced persons can be reintegrated to their societies. But again, guys, these are the conversations that we hope to magnify come Thursday at the town hall meeting. Our concentration largely is the people, and that is how it has always been. That is how it will continue to be. Back to the studio.
Bernard, thank you very much for bringing this story. As heartbreaking as it is, it's important that we have these conversations. These people are Nigerians. They are deserving of living a decent life and not having insecurity or other excuses stripping them of their right to dignity of human person. They deserve to go to bed and wake up in their own homes and not wake up one day as internally displaced persons. And we have to hold the government to account when it comes to conversations about resettling them in their own homes. So we look forward to having more of these conversations at the town hall on Thursday. Well done, Bernard. Look forward to speaking with you again. A heavy story there. We'll go on a very quick break. When we come back, we have breakfast headlines. Please stay with us.
Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Let's take a look at the top stories on breakfast headlines. We begin with alleged content exploitation, where President Bola Tinubu has directed the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission to investigate Google, Meta, X, and some generative artificial intelligence platforms over allegations of anti-competitive practices and the unauthorized use of content produced by Nigerian media organizations. The directive followed a joint petition by the Nigerian Press Organization, NPO, representing newspaper publishers, broadcasters, journalists, and online publishers. The FCCPC says the inquiry will independently examine claims that the company's activities may undermine fair competition, threaten the sustainability of the country's media industry, and violate the rights of content creators. Away from that story now, the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, has dismissed claims that the coastal highway in the state, which is Lagos, has caused the flooding, arguing that the project has instead improved the movement of storm water through a network of culverts constructed along the corridor. The minister clarified his stance during an inspection tour of the project alongside members of the Senate Committee on Works, following complaints from residents. The visit gave lawmakers first-hand insight into the progress of the highway project, its challenges in areas requiring improvement. Officials maintain that the project is being executed with adequate drainage measures to mitigate flooding and protect surrounding communities.
But we will solve the problems. We solve the problems, but we will need the participation and cooperation and, of course, commitment of the Lagos State government. And I want to commend the governor very well. Properties, we have to go. And you've just seen one of the manholes we created. You can see how residents are carrying refuse and blocking the manholes. So anyway, we have this culvert to do, and you have people carrying refuse to put inside the manhole to block the culvert, then they should stop crying. They should know that they are the people that have caused their own problems. We cannot be manning every manhole. There must be discipline in this country. Along this corridor, you see where people have cut off, the see-through fence. You see where people have, cut through the block walk. The essence of superhighway and coastal highway is that you cannot come from your yard and engage the road. So that's why we are proposing, drainage, by the side of the corridor, and also service lane, which the Lagos State government have to participate in, because it is going to be like an internal route, to help the people of Lagos State.
At least 2 people have died and more than 48,000 others have been evacuated after heavy rains triggered severe flooding in southern China's Guangxi region. Authorities have raised flood warnings to the highest level as tropical storm Maysak continues to threaten affected communities. Officials say torrential rainfall caused dams to overflow and rivers to burst their banks, forcing large-scale evacuations in Nanning and nearby cities. More than 800 people were also displaced in Fangchengan. Although Maysak has weakened into a tropical storm, forecasters warn it could still bring heavy rainfall across southern China. And that's all the updates we have for you this morning on Breakfast Headlines. Don't forget to stay tuned. 12 o'clock, News Central will bring to you the 12 Report. You get all the latest stories and, of course, the best in reporting across Nigeria and outside Nigeria. Stay with us. The front pages of the newspapers will be coming up next. Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Let's go straight to the front pages of the newspapers. We have joining us the chief editor, and you could say the one and only who
publisher,
the publisher, the man who will say it the way it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we must ring the bell for him. Please put your hands together. Why are you ringing the bell
like that?
Yeah, I'm doing it like this. You know, that's how the chefs do it in France.
Are we chef?
Oh, okay.
So we are cooking. Cooking news is negative. It means you are doctoring news.
No.
Yeah, that's what it means in English. Yeah. So what are we doing? Are we frying it? No, sorry. Mr.
We're analyzing the news.
Chukwu Amechi is in the house. Yes. Thank you so much for being here.
Olive. We're senior prefect now. You've done all of
you
this.
grow muscle.
The way you're ringing this at some point.
You grow muscle.
Mr. Amechi, please forgive my colleagues for their encumbrances.
Wow.
Oluyimbo, what's that?
Wow.
We understand each other. Can't you see?
The phone lines.
We are looking very executive together.
Nigerians want to talk. Please put the phone number on the screen there. Thank you so much, our able director. We're coming back to you.
Mr. Amechi, good to have you. So many things have happened since the last time you sat on this hot seat.
Too many things, though.
In the past, Fela sang about unknown soldiers. We've gone through the era of unknown gunmen. Now there's unknown agency. many things
what
are
agency
happening.
Do you belong to, if we may ask? Are you
recognized?
We need to know who we want to.
Accounts with CBN.
We have to start scrutinizing everything now.
Okay, let's start with Al Jazeera newspaper. We'll come into the big story, the Gbaja Gates, shortly, but let's start with the marketers on the front page of Al Jazeera. Falling crude oil price. Federal government tackles marketers, insists slashing PMS and other pump prices. Recall that a few days ago, marketers had said if federal government tries to do price control, we will see shaggy. Is the shaggy about to be seen, Mr. Amechi?
It's been deregulated, so why are they not following basic economic principles?
Well, I think that's the fundamental question to ask. If you say you've deregulated the sector, why are you so concerned about the price mechanisms there? It is the government simply trying to look good, not to sound good. But the truth of the matter is that anybody who had expected that even if the war in Iran ends today and the crude price comes back to the pre-February 28 before the war ensued in Iran,
Nigeria
will be mistaken. Because like we say here, nothing goes up here and ever comes down. I don't foresee so soon the price of crude, petrol coming below 900 or where it was before the war started. But then having said that, I also think that Dangote refineries and, of course, the importers of petroleum products should also think about Nigerians as they also do their business. If they had to hike, expectedly, the price of petroleum products because of the cost of crude oil, now that crude has come down, because at in the peak of that war, I think something about March or so, crude oil sold for well over $110, or in fact, at a stage, I think it inched to $120. Now that it is below 100, now that it is hovering around 90-something dollars, common sense should prevail. And these guys should be able to lower the cost of petrol. But of course, the excuse they are giving that they still have old stock, and therefore until they exhaust the old stock. But they didn't argue that when they hiked price, because immediately the war started and the crude price jumped. They didn't say, okay, the stock we have, or we had then was the stock pre the price hike. They simply adjusted their pump prices immediately. Now that it has come down to insist that it is the old stock. I think it is somehow not quite honest, if I may put it that way. But they should also consider that at the end of the day, it is the ordinary, the average Nigerian who is suffering from all sides. They should also consider their plight.
Joe, as your last purchase, how much was?
I got for 1,115.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that's the standard price now. 1,150.
It's still high. We need to get to pre-war levels. That's under 1,000.
Yeah.
I also heard the marketers just this morning in some of the stories stating clearly to the government that the only way the price will come down to 800 naira is if they are allowed to also get their licenses back to import. And I'm wondering, is this a form of twisting the government into officially agreeing? Because there's a pushback that you don't need to import. Dangote has enough. So we hear some quarters of marketers that say no. And I wonder what the DPR is doing, Department of Petroleum Resources.
Look, if this is a free market economy, if you have deregulated the market, some people who want to import should be allowed to import. You buy where the price is
favors you.
This issue, we are only creating a monopoly. Look at what is happening with cement. I understand now that a bag of cement goes to about 15,000 naira.
15 to 18.
So that all the raw materials used in producing this cement are sourced here has not brought down the price. And you know the funny thing? Nigeria that exports this cement to other countries, cement sells cheaper in some of those countries than Nigeria. Do you know why? Because there's no monopoly. There's competition. And those countries can import. In Nigeria, there's there's a monopoly. I think even to import, it is between Dangote and Bua. So
Dangote, Bua, Lafarge, yes.
So they fix their prices as they want. Yes, Dangote has the capacity to produce all that we need for local consumption. But if it is a deregulated market, if it is a deregulated economy, if it is a deregulated sector, I would think that anybody who wants to get his product from anywhere, let him get. If the price favors me, I go to that place and buy. If somebody brings in product today and sells at 98 naira, of course, I will go to that place now to buy. And that will, if Dangote sells at 98 naira today, I'm not too sure that he's going to sell at a loss. But to say that there must be a monopoly and that everybody must buy from the same place so that only one company or only one man fixes the price as he deems fit, that won't go well. For the people, the ordinary man on the street, who are the primary consumers of these products.
Okay. I want us to take a few other headlines so that we can move quickly to the next paper. On the front page of Al Jazeera, Minister comments pace, quality of work on Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway. Xenophobia, federal government to evacuate more Nigerians. Fake presidential council has no account to CBN Accountant General says we'll take that later. 2027, ICPC, INEC join forces against election fraud. NAS adopts customs 11.07 trillion naira 2026 revenue target. Sultan Catholic leader moved to combat hate speech, fake news. UBA names Emmanuel Norom chairman as Elumelu retires.
I want us to talk on Minister comments pace quality of work on Sokoto-Badagry Highway. We've seen the level of infrastructure development done by the Tinubu administration, mega projects and all of this. We're currently witnessing the expansion of the Lagos-Calabar Superhighway, and it's raised lots of eyebrows. People have said, you know, it would open up the economy, it would bring a lot of businesses along the corridors. Also, people have also questioned the fact that, look, you have existing road networks that are in a deplorable state. Why not focus on them? And what's the obsession with roads? They've also questioned the bidding process. That is there a competitive bidding and open bidding process before some of this billion-dollar contracts are awarded? But we have a caller on the phone before Mr. Amici responds to that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Please, what's your name and where you joining us from?
I'm joining you people from the Yakari Estate concerning the tackling of the marketers. I want to contribute to what Amici said.
Go ahead and speak to us, please.
Yeah, the marketers that I'm talking about, they agreed. Nigerians are so agreed that the chief there was saying that when the market.
I'm sorry, we won't be able to take your call because of the quality of the audio. Turn off your TV set or reduce the volume when you call us.
All right.
So, Mr. Amici, back to that question on the infrastructural development and the superhighway. What do you make of this? And we've also noticed that the Eastern Corridor seems to be missing in all this superhighway and super projects that are ongoing.
The Eastern Corridor is always missing. Don't forget that when we had the railway project, the Eastern Corridor was also missing. Don't forget that when we had the gas project, the Eastern Corridor, where incidentally much of the gas is produced, was also missing. So,
but you have senior members of the cabinet. Dave Umahi was a former governor in Ebonyi State. You have Governor Hope Uzodinma, is very close to Mr. President. You also have Senator Orji Uzor Kalu. Why are they not lobbying for at least one of these legacy projects to, be moved to the east, or the east should have one of these superhighways?
I think that's a question you have to ask them, why they do what they do, and why they think that by appeasing those in power, then that they will be seen as good boys, in quote. Why it is that self-denial, particularly when you come from the eastern flank, is the only way for you to be seen and regarded as a good Nigerian. Other Nigerians don't behave that way. When all other sections do the same thing, they are seen as very honorable men. But when it is somebody from the eastern flank, he is called all manner of names. And in order to satisfy the stereotyping that has been prevalent for so long, in order to escape from it, I think they do what they do. But the truth of the matter is that it doesn't help anybody. There is what is called federal character, which is even in the Nigerian Constitution. To what extent are we practicing it? The Southeast, as we speak, is the only zone that has 5 ministers, as it were. In fact, now some say it is 3.5, because we have only 3 substantive ministers from the Southeast. Others are ministers of state that are neither here nor there. Whereas some states have as many as 4, 5 ministers. And you ask yourself, how can that be? You go to the budgets that are being presented every year and see the level of marginalization. And when somebody from that area talks, it is misconstrued. People come all out. And so you have to ask the Umahis of this world. In any case, he is here every day boasting how the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway is doing these wonders, they have completed the Lagos corridor, blah, blah, blah. Okay. How many have they completed in the southeast, where he comes from? It doesn't matter to him. All right,
let's pause on that. We have a call coming in. Let's take this call. Good morning. Thank you very much for... unfortunately, it seems like we lost that call. I want to quickly run to this big story that is the story of the week, or maybe the story of the year. On the Punch newspaper, the front page of the Punch. Fake agency scandal. Presidency under pressure as police arrest Adeyemi's father. Police reaction triggers legal backlash as NBA President SANs condemn substituted arrest. Accountant General says PFIPC received no funds. Senate absolves Akpabio. Senators meet today, insist 1.3 billion naira controversial allocation from executive, not National Assembly. He's giving Shaggy. It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. Deflection of
everybody, they are pushing it.
Even the Punch newspaper, fake agency scandal. Can a fake agency have a line item in the budget? So is it really a fake agency?
Okay, let's have Mr. Amechi's thoughts.
Olive, you know, we like deceiving ourselves in this country. And I usually say the worst form of deception is self-deception. When you lie to yourself, you're causing yourself unmitigated harm. Look, let's start from the latest development. The so-called Prince Adeyemi is an adult. So why arrest his father?
A matured man.
Why arrest his father? Unless there is evidence.
Exactly.
That whatever crime Prince Adeyemi allegedly committed, that his father was an accomplice. But if you are arresting him in lieu of his son, because you can't lay your hands on his son, who is an adult and who can answer for himself, then that is tragic. If Nigerian police...
What about the innocent guest that just came to make lunch or
see why you should not be waka nonsense waka?
Kurukere waka.
Are you saying he went there to eat and they got him?
It's possible.
Okay.
If the Nigerian police at this time and age are still engaged in this kind of administration of justice, that you go and arrest a man, from all accounts, I'm not too sure that man is less than 80 years.
Absolutely.
You arrest him. What was the charge? You're looking for the son. And therefore, if you can't see the son, you arrest the father. So we are getting everything wrong.
Substituted arrest. That's what MBA calls it.
We are getting everything wrong. And, you know, this scandal, no matter how much this government tries, they can't wish this scandal away. This is one scandal that is going to define the Bola Tinubu administration. And all these tantrums being thrown here and there. In fact, Nabajabia Miller yesterday instructed his lawyer to write Prince Adeyemi to withdraw the allegations and all that within 72 hours, or he will go to court. It is neither here nor there. There are fundamental questions to be asked. It's easy for Bayo Onanoga to issue a statement exonerating Gbajabiamila Fine. But that statement, rather than dousing the questions that have arisen, in fact, made it worse because it didn't address the issues at all. Wenga, you asked about a fake agency, in quote, that has a budget line of 1.3 billion. It is a fake agency that has office allocated duly
in the Federal Palace Hotel.
At the Federal Secretariat.
Not, I said Federal Palace Hotel. Federal Secretariat, not Banex Plaza.
Federal Secretariat. It is a fake agency that opened account with the central bank. It is a fake agency that has
hosted the cream of the diplomatic corps, senior military officers.
Interacted with diplomats in Nigeria. It is a fake agency whose DG has accompanied the vice president on foreign visits. It's a fake agency. Look, where on earth these people should cover their faces in shame? These people should cover their faces in shame. And look, this man is saying that what caused the problem was because he alleged that he was told to pay 600 million to buy this appointment. He had already paid 400 million, remaining 200 million. But on top of that, the seed money that was
allocated to the agency.
Allocated to the agency. Somebody was demanding 40% out of the 27-point-something billion. We asking, was that money released? Staff, senior civil servants
were redeployed from different ministries. Yes.
Seconded officially to this same fake agency. So when did they realize that it was a fake agency? The takeoff grant of 20-something billion, was it given to them? If yes, who approved? How was the money spent? Could this have been a crisis that arose because Adeyemi allegedly refused to give somebody 40% as allegedly demanded?
Very pertinent question.
These are issues that we need to sort out. And all these theatrics of going to arrest somebody's father, they are diversionary. And no matter, like I said, no matter what this government does, this is a defining moment. Look, Benga, this is not the first time allegations are being made that people are buying ministerial positions with money. Granted, it did not start with this administration, but it became very, very loud in 2023 that most of the people who got into offices paid money. Who did they pay the money to? What was the reason for paying the money? Is it also a form of revenue generation exercise for the government that price itself in collection of money? Nigeria is in a very bad place. What we have is a criminal economy driven essentially by corruption.
Let me read what some of our commenters on YouTube are saying. I'll take comments. We're streaming live on News Central TV Live. Michael Obieko says, unfortunately, we are being held hostage by a group of gangsters in power, and until we do the needful, we ain't going to be free from their claws. The government is so much involved in the scandal because that is another medium through which multiple monies are being siphoned for personal enrichment. Moki Echukwemeka, in response to you, Benga, says, senior puppets to the president, you mean, Benga? Those men you mentioned are boys to the president. Dave Umahi, Hope Uzodinma, and co. can't bring anything meaningful to the southeast. Do you agree?
So far, they have not. Whether they will is the jury is still out. But so far, they have not. And to that extent, you may say that the guy is right, but let's give them the benefit
some more time
of the doubt that the government is still running, and somehow that they will come back to their senses, particularly the Minister of Works, and say, look, my people are also part of this country, and therefore I can't be jumping up and down claiming that the president has done all the roles in Nigeria except where I come from. It doesn't make sense. Let's look at what Nafashola, as Minister of Works and Housing, did for Lagos and the Southwest in the 8 years he was in office. In the 3 years that Dave Umahi has been in office, what has the Southeast benefited from him as the Minister of Works and Housing? And nobody should come and tell me about yes.
It's fairness, I mean.
Because if the Southwest is getting this much and the North is getting this much, why wouldn't the Southeast get their own fair share of the national cake?
Okay, let's still take more stories on that front page. Shetima Obasanjo go on, others celebrate Army Day. Marketers push 800 naira petrol, seek import licenses. UBA names Norom Chairman Azilumilu bows out. South Africa crisis. Federal government extends evacuation. 270 more expected. Tinubu orders probe of Meta, Google AI platform. 10 Kwara APC governorship aspirants protest against Abdul Razak. Army vows to defeat foreign jihadists at borders. But I want us to start with this one. Outrage as Russian strike kills Ukraine-based Nigerian medical student. She's a 23-year-old Nigerian medical student. Her name is Marian Nani. She on Sunday subscribed to injuries sustained during a Russian strike in Ukraine. It was reported by Punch Metro that just days before, she was reportedly set to graduate. This happened.
It's a tragedy. My condolences to the family. This is a poor girl.
Poor girl.
Who went to further her education and is almost at the cusp of graduating, and then this tragedy in a war that she did not contribute to, in a war that basically had nothing to do with her. It is the madness that is now ruling the entire world now. The madness that led Putin into invading a sovereign state and seizing territory. The same madness that led the man in the US, Trump, to invade Iran. When they are talking about peace deal, we forget that thousands were killed unnecessarily. Thousands were killed. And after killing thousands and destroying infrastructure, you are now talking about a peace deal. At the end of the day, nobody is going to talk about those who have perished. Whether they like it or not, Putin and Zelensky of Ukraine will end up on the negotiation table.
At the end of the day. Yeah.
At the end of the day, whether they like it or not, because Ukraine, surprisingly, has proved that the fabled Russia military might, just like Iran also demystified America. no matter what anybody says, this war, even if it goes on in the next 2 million years, Russia won't defeat Ukraine. Russia, in fact, as we speak now, Ukraine has upper hand because they have been able to use drone technology to a very devastating effect against Russia. In fact, some people believe that what Putin did in Ukraine last weekend was born out of anger, having almost lost his cool, and people asking him,
just lashing out.
The man is just lashing out left, right, and center. But there is nothing, no matter how hard he tries, this is not a war he is in a position to win any longer. So the earlier they go to the negotiation table and sort out whatever it is, the better. But for the family, who is going to compensate them?
What compensation
will be enough? This is a promising young lady whose life has been cut short unnecessarily by bloodthirsty leaders that seem to govern the international now. Our condolences to the parents.
Our condolences really to the parents. And just to mention that this is another opportunity to reiterate how, yes, Nigeria is not the cause of the war in Russia and Ukraine, but we must fix up our country so that we'll have fewer young people running to other countries to study. Because the truth is, for some of them, they would rather stick it out, knowing that when they come back, what are they coming back to? Some of them, their universities, their courses or their preferred courses are not, accredited in the university. So exactly, what are they coming back to? If Nigeria was safe to an extent, and they could vouch that ASU will not go on strike, the quality of education, a number of them will have not had to leave the country to go and study abroad. So our heart really goes out to this young woman, Miriam Nani, to her family, to all those who are mourning her loss. May the souls of the faithful departed rest in peace.
Amen.
Amen. Okay, we have come to the end of the show today. Let's see if we can take one or two comments on YouTube as we draw the cuttings. But just to quickly clarify from you, what are your expectations from the government regarding Bajagate? What do you expect to be the next steps?
All they are doing is to cover up. It behoves Nigerians, for once, to say we need to get to the end of this matter. Look, nobody is guilty now. I'm not saying Baja is guilty, but his innocence must be proved.
Yeah.
And if at the end of the day he is found culpable, one thing is certain at this point. Prince Adeyemi could not have done what he did
without some sort of
collaboration from the highest levels of government.
And that collaboration,
who is that collaborator?
Yeah, that collaboration is what needs to be uncovered.
We need to know.
We need to know. Thank you so much, Mr. Amechi, for joining us this morning. Thank you to all our guests who have come in earlier, to our virtual audience as well. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for the time.